Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Elite Racing Network, where tonight we are live from Dover for the Monster Mile 150. Joining me in the booth tonight, as always, is James Watson, along with Dave. Guys, it's going to be an exciting race. We're halfway through this penultimate round here, trying to decide who's going to race for a championship. Tensions were high last week, and being at Dover, I don't expect that to change. James, I'll throw it to you first. What do you think we're going to see tonight?
I mean, I don't know what we're gonna see tonight. I mean, I don't think any of us expected last week to be as testy as what it was, and with tonight being much more close quarters and significantly easier to make any sort of contact, I don't think it's gonna get much better here.
And what about you, Dave? You were there last week. I know you don't talk all the way through these broadcasts, but we like to get your input at the start and at the end, especially. So, after last week, with what we saw with Matthew Weeks and Tyler Fody, who of course here is on the poll tonight, what do you expect to see tonight? And maybe it'll calm down a little bit more after last week.
No, I kind of agree. I think something. It's going to be something's going to happen. Kick it off. And
Well, I hope we don't get too much contact. These races at Dover can be a lot of fun if we can get some tire wear, see these long runs, see these guys spread out. Like I mentioned, Tyler Fody on the pole, Trey Eitzen there in second, Wadsworth third, David Tooker, Scott Crump back there in fifth, Chad Frankenfield up there in sixth. Looking at our playoff guys, though, we got Wilkinson and Hibbs there in ninth and 10th. We got Jonathan Cutler back in 12th. Matthew Weeks right behind him there in 13th. Blake Reynolds, uncharacteristic qualifying effort tonight, all the way back in 15th. Of course, he is locked in. He won last week, and he had a boatload of points coming into tonight. You see Gerald Campbell, Joe Francis back through there. These guys taking the whole time to grid up tonight. We're going to get time to go through this whole field. You see Seth Rawls all the way back in 28th. And I feel like he's in a must win. And I don't know that you're going to do it from 28th, but stranger things have happened as this field does begin to pull off a pit road. And here, real quick, James, Dave, who do you guys think we're going to see win tonight?
I'm gonna go with Fody. He's on the pole.
We got a Fody, we got a Wadsworth. Dover, all kinds of craziness can happen. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to take a guy not even in here in the points battle, not even trying to make the next round of this playoff. I am going to take Trey Eitzen to win this thing and force these playoff guys into a lot of drama next week. They roll through turn 3, getting ready to go green. Tyler Fody, we haven't seen him up at the front too much the last couple weeks. And last week when he finally got there, him and Weeks had a run-in. Don't know if they've talked this week, but I highly doubt it. As the green comes out, great launch here for everybody. Fody gets a good launch. Trey, really good. Maybe even launched better than Fody. Heading for turn 1 side by side all the way through this field right now. Trey's just hanging on to his right rear there off of turn number 2. And he falls in line, and just like that, I think we're about 5 or 6 single file up front.
Yeah, you saw everyone giving the wall as much room as you. Oh no, we got contact already! Oh!
It's Hibbs!
Oh
It's
my
Cutlip.
god, and Cutlip! And Weeks! Oh my god! Oh wow, that's like half the field.
I gotta tell you, I
Oh
think Weeks
boy.
and Cutlip are going to be okay. I think Weeks and Cutlip are going to be okay. We'll have to get a... Ooh, somebody hit the wall. I believe the 42 hit the wall. Yeah, the 42 is going to hit the wall. Contact. Ooh, the 26 is going to get some contact there. Brandon's in the playoff. Oh, and there you see the 20. You see the 5 missing it, and that's where... Does he get into the 11, or does the 11 just spin? 12 with a hard shot. Here comes Joe Francis. The 34 comes sliding in. There you see Rexing. There you see the 3 coming in real late there as well. The 24. There's Seth. Seth just got to the apron, stopped, picked his way through. Oh, the 26 has got some severe damage, guys. The 26 is coming down pit road. Major playoff implications here for Brandon Wilkinson. On board with the 24.
Yeah, thankfully for him, no meatball, but
You see the 95, the 26 pulling around him. Gotta wonder if that wheel's straight. I know he doesn't have a meatball like you mentioned, James, but if that toe's out, it's not going to come back completely.
no.
There you see the 11. No, that's not the 11. Excuse me. That's the 20. The
Black flag clear.
Yeah, because I believe he went right through the pit speed exit cone, trying to avoid the calamity.
So major playoff implications here. Right off of the green flag, that chaos meter is pegged right from the drop tonight, like we just talked about, James and Dave, if you want to chime in. We just talked about how, all the craziness of last week, everybody was really just super frustrated, not wanting to have a whole lot of give last week. It was all take. And immediately from the drop, we see the 11, the 5 spin, but I don't know that they necessarily picked up a bunch of damage. And then we saw Brandon Wilkinson in the 26 car pick up a substantial amount of damage where he has to come to pit road and fix it. So just like that, 3 playoff guys having to dig out of a hole.
Yeah, that's just classic Dover. One person has an incident and there's nowhere to go, and a whole bunch of cars are getting taken out because of it. That's why, Dover's just a bigger Bristol, honestly.
And in a lot of ways, James, they're pretty lucky that it took as long as it did to happen, because it actually opened up a little bit. It was still real narrow and real tight down there, but the 20, like we mentioned, he was able to get to the apron and go through the exit of pit road. If they're 20 feet closer to the start-finish line, that option is not available to him, and we're probably talking about way more cars involved and, a track blockage problem. But nonetheless, we are going to go green here once again with Fody still out front. We saw how good Trey's start was the first one. Let's see how he times it out this time. Green is out. Ooh, a little bit of wheel spin there for Trey. He's going to give up any shot to race for the lead and possibly second down here into turn 1. Justin Wadsworth pulls right up on him. Trey with a big run off the top.
Yeah, Justin didn't clear, and that allowed Trey to maybe take the spot back.
Now we get down here into the middle of 3 and 4. Trey really working hard, trying to get those big runs. Not going to get it here down the front stretch. He's going to look to the inside of Justin, not going to take it. Chad Frankenfield, David Tooker, the first side-by-side battle there in 4th. Justin Wadsworth taking a peek underneath Fody. Fody slams the door into turn 3. I tell you, Justin is wrapping that bottom way better than the 40 machine right now.
Absolutely, but I think the dirty air might have got him a little bit that time, and he shot up just a bit. You're really going to get a full display on how hard it is to pass here. It's so hard to get that run and get to the inside of that car.
Yeah, and you'll know this too, James. It's hard to pass until it isn't. And once it becomes easy to pass, either you're doing the passing or you're getting freight trained, because the guys who destroy their tires are significantly slower on the back end of these runs.
And that's really what you need, because the outside lane can hold position pretty easily, especially because you're always kind of nervous and timid for the most part as the car on the inside, because the way you jump out of the banking up onto the straightaway, you know, it kind of sucks the car up to the outside, so you're never entirely sure how much room you're gonna have and how much room you need. So because of that, you just have to give way more space than oftentimes you think, and it just allows that outside car to defend so easily. So you have to save tire and hope the car ahead burns them off, so that way he can just jump to the inside, have him try to battle, but ultimately just slide away. Otherwise, it's going to be a long, arduous battle.
And a lot of times, at places like any other track, for the most part, you know, we're going to be able to see guys on how they drive the car and how they wear the tires. That's how they're going to drive. You know, some guys might get freer, some guys might get tighter. Tonight, it's going to be the same problem. Everybody's going to be tight in the middle. It's going to be super, super tight. Like, I cannot express how tight these cars are going to be in the middle, which in turn is going to lead to them being loose off, and that is not the adjustment or change they're going to want to try to fix with their driving, is fixing the loose off. You're going to be so loose off because you're going to be so tight in the middle. You're going to have so much wheel into it that all of a sudden it's going to catch, and it's going to catch in a hurry. And so these guys are going to be messing with the brake bias, getting a lot of rear brake. They're going to maybe look loose to us on, you know, on this broadcast because they're going to be sliding off the corner or maybe chasing the tail a little bit into the corner, but that's all because they're trying to figure out a way to make that thing rotate through the center.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about running this place and running it on a fixed setup is, like you said, it basically does the opposite of what you want the car to do at any given point in the corner. So all you're doing is really just suffering for about 115 laps, unless you have the magical clean air. But then you're only suffering slightly less worse.
Yeah, and you're seeing right here, as we've been kind of talking about what these guys are going to fight and how these cars are driving, you're seeing the groove really widen out in traffic. You see the 30, that's Connor going up top there. Gerald's looking at the bottom. Johnny Thomas right up there in front of them was running high, then he was running low. Looks like Johnny's trying to do a little bit of a diamond.
Yeah,
all the guys out in front.
Gavin Hibbs in.
Well, yeah, let's see what he's got to say. We don't get to talk to Gavin too much, and we'll get to bring him up here and see what he has to say. Well, we've got Gavin Hibbs up here joining myself, James, and Dave in the booth. Gavin, not the night you wanted to have, you know, Dover-style big wreck that James was talking about there early in the race. Talk to us about what you saw, and could you have done anything different to avoid it?
I don't think there was anything I could have done, really. I mean, didn't think much, you know, just trying to get through the first couple of laps, you know, just biding my time and all that stuff, you know, make up positions if I can. But I saw the 42 get in the wall off of 4, and he did it once, and I'm like, okay, you know, he's going to slow up a bit, but we're ready for it. And then he hits it again, and, you know, I just had no time to react. And then we had some guys barreling into the wreck. You know, that's what pretty much killed my car, and I would have been fine if that didn't happen. But, you know, I had high hopes for this round, you know, but, you know, pretty much no must win at Wilkesboro.
Yeah, and you mentioned being in a must-win at Wilkesboro. These playoffs have been really up and down for you. We saw you have good runs. We saw some trouble. You know, I believe I was at Portland a few weeks ago that you were running really strong, ended up getting in some trouble, but you've advanced on, and now, like you mentioned, a must-win at North Wilkesboro. So is that kind of easier on you going into that race in a must-win than it is trying to fight a point battle, you know, that you were just on the outside of? Now you know next week, hey, if there's an opportunity to do something different, you'll be able to take it and not have to worry about trying to follow everybody else?
Yeah, we're definitely, I think the first 75% of that race, you know, I'm just going to bide my time and pretty much do what everybody else does. And then once we get in the latter stages of that race, everyone's going to try something different. So it's going to be no different for me.
All right, before we let you jump out of here, I'll ask my partner in crime up here, James, you got any questions here for Gavin before we let him start preparing for Wilkesboro?
No, I think you pretty much nailed it.
Well, before you jump out of here, Gavin, talk to us about the sponsors and who helps get it done for you and who's helping you chase this championship right now.
Yeah, big shout out to Channel 199 and Racecraft Academy. Blake, Paul, and I believe John and Wadsworth. We've been working so great together all season long. We've got all of us in the playoffs. Unfortunately with Paul missing a race, he couldn't advance. But I think a strong season from all of us. And there's a slight chance of all four of us getting a Final Four spot, but it's going to be tough now. But big shout out to Channel 199, Racecraft, and Next Level Racing for being the sponsors and bringing me on board for this season. Hoping to be back next season.
Meanwhile, you see a massive train behind everyone trying to run down that 40. Got hardly any gap between all of these cars up here at the front. See, Fody jumps up, he slides a little bit. Not enough for Wadsworth to take advantage of it. Meanwhile, Justin has the 92 all over the rear of that 6 car, looking to see if he can get up into P2. See that 15 lurking in the back. He's hanging in as best as he can. So far, so good for the 15, and a few others. As you see Reynolds and Cutlip up into the top 10. Blake Jonathan with a great recovery after getting involved with the major calamity there at the beginning. Meanwhile, to report on some of the other cars involved, Brandon Wilkinson has only made it up to, I believe, 18th so far. So maybe he's biding his time, maybe there is something wrong with the 26 car, hard to say. Meanwhile, up towards the front, Eitzen really trying that high line, trying to see if he can get the run on Justin. Oh, there he goes, he jumps to the bottom, dives to the inside of the 6. Is Justin gonna put up a fight? Little bit. And Trey is gonna clear. 92 up to P2 as Wadsworth jumps to the bottom, and here comes Tooker. So they both drive by the wounded car, Kyle Hanshaw. Justin is not gonna let this go. It's almost contact off of turn 2. You see what I was talking about earlier with how hard it is to give the room off a corner exit. That's not gonna be the only time we see something like that tonight. Now Tooker looking to get by the 6 as well. This isn't what you want to see if you're Justin Wadsworth. You don't want to be losing these positions as we only got less than 20 laps to go before the end of the stage. So now here comes that 15 lurking. Tooker will clear, and Chad's going to try to see if he can follow through. Been a rough last few laps for Wadsworth. See Justin maybe looking to the inside, trying to get back past David Tooker. Meanwhile, a little further back, Blake was way high, almost touching the wall. I don't know if that was by design or what. But Blake is really running that extreme line, almost like an extreme diamond, honestly. Seems to be working. See Cale Pocock on the apron. Did Cale get any damage from that initial wreck? Dave? Because I don't remember seeing him involved.
Yeah, I think he did because he's going over a minute of pit time. Brought it back down pit lane. More pairs here.
That's unfortunate for Kale. Meanwhile, Blake looking to the inside of Tommy Ryan. Last night's winner in the Juicy Spider Truck Series race at Charlotte. See Blake continuing to run that different line. That is really interesting to watch. Like it's kind of jarring seeing him run up that high.
Yeah, I gotta wonder if he's going to be hurting his tires pretty bad there, James. He's going all the way to Maryland here to run through these corners.
Absolutely. Pick up some Old Bay while he's at it. To see Cutlip and Higgins side by side, a little bit further behind.
All three of those guys had to miss that wreck, but two of the three spun, and they're still just hanging on. You've got to wonder if they've hurt their tires, and that's why they have not been able to progress forward there in that 5 and 11.
Yeah, it's still a good recovery drive, especially for Weeks, getting just outside stage points. He absolutely needs all the points he can get. He was one of the biggest ones affected in last week's shenanigans, I'll call it. So he desperately needs the points because he's in a pretty big hole, but not too big of a hole to where it's a pure must-win.
Yeah, but you got to think as he's sitting here and he's running where he's running, he's looking at the points and understands that Blake's locked in. That only leaves 3 spots available. Fody running where he's running looks to be in a good spot there to maybe take one of those other spots. And his teammate right there in the 5 probably going to get one of those spots as well, unless he just has back-to-back just absolutely horrendous runs. And looking at the wrecks and stuff we've had tonight, I don't think that's going to happen. I think John is basically fully in the door there of getting a playoff spot, so that only leaves 1. And so I think the 11 sitting there got to be thinking, I got to win tonight or I got to win next week, because we heard Gavin talking about it, how he feels like it's a must-win. If he goes and wins, then, that 4th guy on points, which is, what the 11 is going to be racing for, if he doesn't win, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
And Blake has finally made that work there, getting around the 66.
Yeah, Blake was working on Tommy for a little while, and he's finally able to get the pass done, just like Matthew Weeks able to get the pass done on Cutlip. The 11 up to the final stage point with less than, say, 10 laps to go here. I think we're coming to 8 to go.
And they're working by the slow 12 car who was involved in that wreck. And I feel bad for the 12 for Leighton there. He's the guy that, for whatever reason, there's certain drivers that really have a good feel for racetracks, and they might just have a couple times a year where they feel like they really got a shot to win the race. And I'm not trying to take a dig at the guy, but I know how strong Leighton is here at Dover, and it doesn't matter the car, so he is probably pretty disappointed with the way this night has went, because I know that a Leighton likes this place. He runs really well here, and maybe felt like he had a shot tonight to make some noise and race for a win, and that just wasn't in the cards there right from the drop of the green.
Absolutely, as you see the major front end damage on that 12, and some fairly major rear end damage as well.
Yeah, I'd say that one's done for. He's still running around out here, but he's way off pace. He's really struggling, and as a driver, with him not being in the playoffs, if I was him, I'd be done, but he just likes making laps around here, and he's going to soldier on and see if he can't find what he needs, maybe catch a lucky break, get the damage fixed, and still race for a top 10 or 15 later.
Yeah, you never know. There's still plenty of time for this race to turn into a dumpster fire. As we got battles all around the track now. Blake battling with Chad and Matthew Weeks slipping by the 20 of Higgins. See Chad holding off Blake for now.
Chad's moving up the track a little bit. You think he's getting defensive?
I think he is, especially since we got 4 laps to the end of the stage. This is a huge point for Chad. He has to fight it with all he's got, and we know Chad, he's going to fight with all he's got.
Yeah, I would be able to explain the point situation a little bit better, but I had a hardware issue over here, so that tab is no longer pulled up, so I will have to get that pulled back up. But oh, and here we go. Look at that. Speak, and it shall happen. David's on the ball. And there is that point situation. You mentioned Chad needing those points, and they all need those points. You know, Cutliff's got a big gap, but everybody else is super tight with the exception of Seth, who knows he's in a must-win already. You know, Weeks is pretty far down, but he feels like he can claw his way back. Gavin's now in a must-win moving in the next week. So Gavin and Seth are the 2 guys that feel like they have to win. Everybody else has still got that opportunity to points race, but it is dwindling down, and at the end of this first stage that they're coming to here, they're seeing more and more of what they're going to have to do to win that championship, or to get a chance to win that championship.
Yeah, and you see, obviously, Cutliff has his massive lead. Fody is already sitting in the 3rd spot, not even counting him as the race winner right now. So you're really only looking at that 4th spot if you're everyone else. And right now it's being held by Wadsworth, who is gonna put a decent gap on everyone else with getting P3 in the stage. Tyler Fody takes the win of the stage 1 here at Dover.
Yeah, great job for Wadsworth there. Chad getting that 6th spot. Did he lose it, or did he get it?
I think he lost it.
He lost it, yeah. So it's going to be Fody, Eitzen, Wadsworth, Tooker, Reynolds, Frankenfield, Tommy Ryan, Matthew Weeks, Crump, and Gavin Higgins. Just missing out on stage points was Jonathan Cup.
Yeah, and that ends up becoming a pretty, I don't want to say healthy lead. I don't think you can call around a 10-point gap healthy, but it's a nice cushion for Wadsworth, since the closest one to him in points, Wilkinson, is nowhere near stage points tonight. And the closest one next to him, Chad, was already, I think, 6th behind and lost a few. So yeah, it's a really good stage 1 here for Wadsworth.
I'll tell you this, speaking from existence, as you see the change of 2nd place right there, speaking from existence, or experience, not existence, you give me the 10-point gap over the 10-point deficit any day of the week, because a 10-point deficit, you feel like you're always chasing, you're worried about it. You got the 10-point gap, a little bit freer, like, hey, I don't have to do anything crazy. You feel like you got to press when you're down double-digit points.
And it also puts a 10-point gap puts you in such a no man's land, because you're like, what do I do? Do I try to prioritize stage points and try to see if I can whittle it down, or do I focus on just going for the win outright and not even have to worry about it? And so it's so easy to second guess yourself when you're having to figure out, okay, what do I do now? It's that you'd almost rather have, okay, this might sound really stupid, but you might rather have a 20-point gap, because then you know what you have to do and what you're gonna do, instead of being in that limbo of what is the best way to go about this.
I agree 100%. That's what I talked about with Gavin a little bit ago. I mean, it's one of those things where I would rather be way out than a little bit out, because if you're a little bit out, then it's hard to justify getting completely off strategy, trying something different, where, you look at Gavin or Seth, they can just do something totally off the wall and say, I wasn't going to make it without a win, and so I just threw something at the wall, and if it sticks, great, and if it doesn't, you know what? You weren't going to win the other way. I look at Seth tonight knowing he's got a must-win. No damage on the car, not running very good. Seth has picked a terrible time of the year to have his worst stretch of races here in these last few weeks. Meanwhile, Justin Wadsworth, a guy who, for most of the stretch there, I mean, he was running top 10, but he wasn't like outright top 2, 3, 4 every week on speed. And all of a sudden, Justin here these last 2 or 3 weeks has turned it up like he's vintage Jimmy Johnson or Jeff Gordon right here.
Yeah, the former Belly Up Sports Cup champion is just rising to the occasion here. And commentators curse incoming in 3, 2, 1.
Not yet. Looks like she's still churning a little bit there in the middle of the corner. One guy who's not, and he's voicing his frustration.
Well, you talked about doing something crazy. Well, sounds like Seth is going crazy. He is bringing it down to pit road right now.
I don't know how much. I think if he'd have done this 10 laps ago and committed to a 2-stopper, it would be crazy and it would be trying something. But at this point, I feel like he still can make it on 1. Like he's just really shortening this first run, just really struggling. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, and I don't know if a 2-stop is really the right way to go at Dover, just because of the fact that how much time you lose on pit road, because this is, yes, anyone, this is the hardest pit road entry in all of NASCAR. You know, trying to get the car woed up to get into pit road and not absolutely clobber the barrels, which we've seen happen in real life on a number of occasions, and then get down to pit road speed, which is 35, an eternity, especially for the amount of pace these cars are carrying on the racing surface. So you're going to have to go an unbelievably huge amount faster to make all that up, and I just don't think the tire wear and the pace drop off is enough for that to really work out in Seth's favor.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
A timely caution could help. Whatever, he doesn't want to see this right now. Caution right now would not help this case. But we talked earlier, James, about it's hard to pass until it isn't. Well, guess what car is not hard to pass right now? And that's Trey Eitzen. He is freight trained. He's blown his tires off this car. He is really struggling. And it looks like he is going to be coming to pit road because he is done driving it. And that looked pretty quick.
Always such a gut check moment. I think he's good as far as penalties. I'm not seeing anything.
I think so too. So I think that was perfectly executed, right on the edge. I mean, I don't know how much better he could have done coming to pit road because I was kind of waiting for the black flag to fly.
Yeah, honestly. And yeah, it looks like this is a whole team mandated strategy or something, because obviously you saw team owner Seth bring it down. You see Brandon Wilkinson passing Eitzen on pit road in the background. Oh, meanwhile, we are 3 wide with Seth, Rexing, and Crump, and Rexing and Crump making a little bit of contact.
One thing there that's different about the 26 is he's damaged. He's talked about it. He's out here. He was almost a lap down right there when he pitted. That damage was way worse than I think we initially thought there, James. I think that thing's pretty severely broke there, and he's in for a long night there in that 26.
Absolutely. As we're going to be nearly 3 wide again. You see the tire difference. That's something that can't be argued. That 25 car is flying on those fresh tires. But
yeah, you got to try to make some hay. You don't want to burn him up because he put himself in a spot where he can go to the end if it does stay green. So he's, I hope somebody's in Seth's ear saying, hey, give us 85 or 90%. We don't need 95 or 100% right here.
Yeah, it's tough to balance that out because, you're ingrained to be go, 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 especially in his position right now, because you look at the timing tower, him and Wilkinson are 2 laps down from this pit, so that's a lot of time he's got to make up. So you're just gonna see that
Jared
and
just
go,
went down to 3 and hit the wall.
yeah,
Just
that
smoked
car
the wall.
just shot up.
Johnny Thomas
Johnny
throwing
Thomas.
a meatball. Tire?
Uh-oh, that's not good for the pride of Ohio there. Maybe he might have blown a tire. That could very well be.
Yeah, because the meatball was immediately left the moment he stopped in his box. So yeah, that's a tire meatball. So, boy, that adds a wrinkle into this. If tires are wearing so much that meatballs are getting handed out, maybe the strategy is set isn't as far-fetched as we were initially
Connor
thinking
Thompson
here.
with the meatball.
There it is, another car with a flat tire. So that tells me if it runs green that a lot of these guys are probably not going to be able to run. I think everybody's looking at a 2-stop if you're blowing tires right here, because it's not just 72 laps here, but they had a caution in there where the tire was able to cool off. They weren't making hard laps. So we're looking closer to like 60, 65, I think, if it's continuous green. And I mean, if they're already blowing tires at this point, it's 60 to 65. That does not get you to 150.
No, so yeah, they might be a genius strategy call here. See Wilkinson blowing by Chad and Gavin Higgins. They were through wide for a second going down the front stretch.
Chad's another guy who has fallen off right here. The 20's passing him for a spot. The 5's coming up on him. The 10's not far back there. Chad is really, really struggling right here with lap time.
Yeah, starting to pass him pretty easily now.
And I know I've already said it once, but that's what we talked about, James. We talked about how hard it is to pass here until it isn't.
I mean, Ryan with
typically
meatball.
the only way you know is when you just start getting passed. As the 66
All
makes
for
his
your
way,
collection.
making his way to pit road.
Down at home, that's
We don't
3
even have
meatballs.
pasta to go with it.
Monday pasta show.
I like this though. I like the fact that they can abuse the tire. I like the fact that they can blow the tire. We don't see this too often, and you know, it's not all on the tire not being like, you know, not falling off. Sometimes they, you know, they don't run green, as we about wrecked there with the 10 and the 5.
Yeah, Rexon kind of caught the wall off of exit and kind of jinked down a little bit into Cutlip, and weird contact. It kind of caught the 5 in a way where it kind of made the 5 jump and shoot to the inside a little bit.
Tucker, ball number.
That
And-
David Booker coming down pit road, and if
Yeah.
David's blowing a tire, then
Yeah, that's one of our highest running cars to get a meatball. So now you really start looking at those up at the front, like Weeks, Higgins, Chad. I'm curious on if Fody, Reynolds, and Wadsworth are able to take care of their tires, because they're still almost just as fast as they have been. So not really.
we just had that change at second as you were talking about that. And here comes Justin. Justin says, I'm throwing in the towel. Oh, man. Oh, I think that's a black
he
flag.
got
That's
a
a black
black flag.
There's the commentator's curse. It's all James.
Yep, there it is. It never fails. And this is the worst track to get a speeding penalty. Well, I think it's now the second worst. The second worst track to get a speeding penalty at, behind New Atlanta with that pit lane entry that feels like an eternity.
That's very unfortunate too. We talked about how well he was running, and now he's gonna have to
showing a
drive
black
through.
flag. I don't know what for. Might have been an
I
errant
think that
click.
was an accidental. It was an
Errant
accidental.
click.
He was looking for Wadsworth there to get a Wadsworth pass through.
Rexy probably freaked out. What did I do?
Yeah. All you hear is William with one singular reaction word.
Meatball? Our new meatball.
Oh. And
Scott Crump has got a meatball.
Scott Crump.
That car's turning pretty good for a car that's got a blown right front tire.
No kidding.
I think anybody who's still out here right now, they're pretty good about making it to the end here. It'll be tight on the second run, you know, especially if you have to drive a little harder. You know, it's going to be a little bit more
Matthew,
pushing.
the meatball?
But we'll see. Here comes Weeks, I believe, coming to pit road. He's really getting on the apron early and missing it just a little bit.
Yeah, look at all the time Rexing was able to make on him.
And we're about to have a lead change on track with strategy. But, I mean, if there's a time to caution, Seth Rawls is getting passed by Tyler Fody right now on the racetrack. But Seth's just wanting a caution here in about 5 or 10 laps.
Yeah.
That's all he's looking for. This is, so far, net gain, huge gain for Seth. He wants this cycle to play out and then catch a caution.
Chad Frankfield, the ball number 7.
Oh, and was that a speeding penalty as well for Chad?
Oh, looks.
The Cutlip in as well. So far, the only one that hasn't pit is the 86.
Yeah, and that's the guy who's locked in, so I guess he can run until he gets a meatball. Or he's going to pit right here.
Yep.
Now you see him coming down here to slow down for pit road.
Saw him lock up the brakes, but that was actually a really efficient entry.
And now the cards have been dealt. I think we're pretty safe in assuming Seth Rawls is going to be stopping again, and if it stays green, it'll probably be between lap 110 and 115. That neighborhood right there is when he'll be on pit road again. Possibly 120.
Last guy to stop. Underspin.
But everybody who stopped after lap 70, after anybody who stopped in the neighborhood of 80 onward is probably going to make it to the end.
In theory.
I'll tell you what, the 92 is really... Well, wait, are these guys unlapping themselves? The 90 and the 5 might be unlapping themselves.
92 is current leader.
So yeah, they're unlapping themselves from him. Okay. So Trey short pitted a little bit, and he short pitted from the front. And so he's got a pretty sizable lead right now, whereas Seth short pitted from the back, and he's still 12 seconds back. But Seth's in the neighborhood now. Seth is like, give me a caution. Seth wants to see a caution right now so bad, he would probably make a deal with the devil to get a caution right now. We're talking championship saving possibility there for Seth if he can catch a caution.
Yeah, because otherwise he's either going to be really slow or he's going to have to make that second pit stop, which would essentially make him really slow. How much time he'll lose from that.
But he also has a little bit of time. I think he's got a good 10, 15 laps here where if a caution comes out, he's still going to be feeling pretty good about it. You know, especially with what happened to Justin Wadsworth there, like really, I mean, you really just did a bad thing for Justin there, James, with that curse that you gave him. I mean, good lord.
Yeah, that's why I don't praise people.
But I know Justin's going to be frustrated. He got all he could get and a little bit more. But the night's still young. It's not over. He's just one lap down. And he knows a lot of guys in front of him short pitted and are different cycles. So being able to make it on one more stop, I'm confident that he's in that spot to make it on one more stop. That's going to get him some of these spots back. He got good stage points, so plenty of time to have a good recovery.
Yeah, the sky isn't falling yet, but he does have some time to make up on Dord Mikolajczyk to get to be the first car one lap down.
Well, the good thing is I think they're all catching Trey. Like, Trey's, this is something we don't get to say very often. As the leader, Trey is one of the slowest race cars on the racetrack.
Yeah, but Justin still has about 12 seconds to make up. So it's still going to be a pretty good amount of time before he gets there.
And there will be a lead change that's about to take place. I mean, you see Fody's beating him by half a second a lap, and that's being nice some laps. So Fody's really quickly catching Eitzen. Seth Rawls is also the guy out here that's, him and Trey are both running pretty slow. And it sounds like there might be a caution coming soon.
Yeah.
Someone just told someone else that if that happens again, I'm not going to lift. And they may or may not be on the screen right now.
What? These two?
Oh, it's getting real tight right there.
Boy.
Nobody gives, and now Scott's going to feel like he got used up. More contact. Oh, man.
Oh, boy. These two are Seth Rawls' best friend right now.
I don't know. I think Chad might have did enough to get away. Like, it's going to take a pretty big dive, and Scott...
Like that?
Yeah. Scott sent it down in there pretty far, but he just wasn't quite close enough. He needed just a little bit more. He needed another car length. Heck of an effort, though. A for effort there. A for effort to do it, and he still didn't really... I mean, he gave up the corner, right? On the exit. He lost a lot of time. But he didn't just go down in there and miss the corner.
Yeah, we call that, he put a lot of reasonable doubt on that move. Yep.
Reasonable doubt. As they both go by the 25. Poor Seth, he's like, man, I need that caution now.
Yeah.
He's now getting into that desperate time where it's like, hey, I really need it. The lead change is about to happen. As we talk about all this going on, the 92 is about ready to give up the lead to the 40. I don't even know that he's got any... I don't think he's going to even be able to fight Fody. The tire difference is that much different that I don't think he'll be able to race him.
Nope. Something easy to pass, something.
Yeah, and it's there, it's there, it's about to happen. The 92 can't even make the bottom. He does get back down there on the corner exit to kind of take away that line, but there you see it, just no fight. Now he's passed, and he knows he's got to come back to pit road. So at some point, we're going to see him. We're going to see the 25 for sure. I believe the 19 blew a tire early enough where it's, there's a handful of guys that I'm pretty confident are going to make a return trip to pit road. A bunch of guys who we're not sure about. And then there's only about 5 guys that I think we are overly confident in that can do it without stopping again.
Yeah.
And those guys are the 40, the Fody. We got Reynolds there can make it. I think Weeks went pretty far. Cutlip and Justin Wadsworth, I think, are the guys that we are pretty sure are going to be able to make it without stopping again. And there you see it. So it will be interesting if these guys are able to do it. And we won't know until 5 or 10 to go, James. This isn't something that we're going to be able to all of a sudden, oh no, not unless they pull to pit road. If they pull to pit road, we'll know, immediately. But outside of like the 25, the 92, and a couple other guys, we're not going to know for sure until they make that left-hand turn on the pit road. And a lot of these guys are going to want to wait until the last second, until it blows pretty much, because they know a caution at that point is very unlikely.
Yeah, we can't even speculate. We have absolutely no clue what's going to happen here. And that's exactly what we want.
And first one to blink, a little bit sooner than I thought, by maybe 10 laps, is the 25. Seth is going to go ahead. He's going to come down. He's going to make this second stop. I think a little bit of that is because he's about to get lapped, so he's trying to maybe hope to be one lap down on the other side of this. Or be close enough to Fody to get that back. Fody just passed him on the racetrack. We'll have to see how this math works out here as he gets to his pit box. Let's see where the 40 is here. 40's running around here somewhere. Seth's about ready to... They got the left side jacked up. If my math is correct, the 40 should be coming by him here any second. So Seth's going to be a little bit further behind than I think he would have wanted. As Fody's driving down to turn 1 and 2. Seth's going to be about half a lap down, but with the speed difference, it's going to be... Seth is to the cone now. So almost exactly a half a lap there. Probably a little bit more than a half a lap once he gets blended back. He'll make that time difference up and get back to 1 down, but... Man, it's going to be a pretty tough run here. Doing that from as far back as he was. I think he's just hoping to catch a top 15. Really, I think he was hoping to catch that caution.
Yeah, now he's in the opposite camp. He doesn't want a caution.
Yeah, which is why I'm kind of surprised he didn't wait until he got lapped. I would have waited until... I would have had to see myself get lapped before I came back down pit road, because I still think he had about 5 or 6 laps before that happened. So if a caution comes out in the next 5 laps, he's going to probably feel like, oh man, I really messed that up. But if a caution doesn't come out, this was the call, because you want a little bit more laps on fresher tires.
Exactly. This is his best way to salvage anything from this strategy in this race.
Now we have to wonder when the 92 is going to be making that return trip, since we know that's coming at some point.
You also have to wonder when the 86 is going to take the lead, because Blake is now 3/10 behind Fody.
And he pitted later than Fody, I believe, so...
He did.
Fody's not going to want to give this up. Blake doesn't have anything to race for other than just taking points away and taking an opportunity away from everybody else. And I don't know, we talked about when they caught the 92 didn't have nothing to race with. Fody's got older tires enough to where I don't know that he'll be able to take the fight unless, Fody's sneaky sometimes about saving those tires. He might have really backed off and saved a little bit to fight, but at a place like this, I just don't see it. I mean, you see how much better that Blake is getting down into the corner there.
Yeah, and the worst thing for Fody too, because like we were saying, there's nothing for Blake to really gain outside of a checker flag. That's the worst That's the worst person you want to race when you have everything to gain is someone with nothing to lose.
And Blake has, we heard him and John both reference having the most wins at the end of the season. And Blake's trying to put a stamp on that here. And without a caution, I think he's, it's looking pretty good. But, I mean, Fode's fighting. It's more fight than I thought that the 40 was going to have. It looks like Fode's giving up the corner entries a little bit to make sure he gets a good run on the exit. Because he knows the 86 can't pass him on entry unless he just drives down in there and bodies him. And he knows with the way he's running the car, the kind of spot it's putting Blake in.
Yeah, we're going to have to see a defensive masterclass from Fode. And so far, so good, but still got like 33 laps. I mean, a long 33 laps for Tyler Fode.
And Blake did come from pretty far back as well. How hard did Blake drive to get here?
Oh, that was nearly all she wrote. Blake almost got to that outside quarter panel.
And now he's fallen back just a little bit. That was the most fight he's going to be able to bring to the 40. So now the pass, it gets harder every lap. He got there with way fresher tires. He needed to make it in a hurry. Couldn't make it happen. So now it's going to get harder and harder and harder. Oh, he takes a big dive
got
there.
Him now.
Fode's really been trying to back that corner entry up, though. Now, what does Blake do into 3? You see Blake beat him into the corner, even a little bit through the middle. But the 40 really pulls him on corner X.
I think Blake might have got the apron just a little bit, too. He looked awfully low and going into the corner.
I mean, Blake is he is getting right to the back bumper. He might have even touched him just a little bit right there.
Ooh, almost. Fode's got to run just a little bit higher to keep him off. And he survives again.
And this is hard now. He needed to make this happen as soon as he got to him, and he would have drove away. But now, I mean, I don't know that his tires are in any better shape than Fode's at this point.
Yeah, the equal off point is going to be getting closer and closer, especially with all that dirty air that Tyler's feeding him.
Tyler's doing a great job about not blocking, just putting his car in a defensive spot. Just when the 86 looks to the top, he runs up the track a little bit, trying to make sure he protects the bottom, trying to make sure that he doesn't get into a spot. Oh, wow. Man, I thought we were about ready to have the 40 get wrecked right there.
Yeah, you saw Blake check up hardcore, and he would kick the rear out a little bit of his car.
Yeah, Blake's, I think, getting into the corner, he's overdriving the corner a little bit too much right now. I think Blake needs to back his entry up and really try to get the exit that the 40 is getting, because it's almost like what you see at a place like Martinsville, where it doesn't matter how bad you beat that guy into the corner unless you're willing to just run him over. You got to get off the corner better than that guy, and right now, Blake is just charging the corners, getting to his bumper, staying on his bumper, but on the exit of the corner, he finally got a decent one to stay with him. Oh, right to his bumper again.
And you saw he checked up again. Blake is cutting him some absolute brakes, but you wonder how long is he going to keep cutting these brakes.
As they do get passed by the 26 there on fresher tires. 25 should be coming up here behind him at some point as well. we're in that spot where I think Seth should be making this pass on these guys.
What's interesting is Trey Eitzen is still on the racetrack, and he is still in P3.
Not for long, though. He is about to get passed, and there's Seth passing him. So Seth is still 4 seconds behind the 2 leaders. I feel like Trey is trying to.
Oh, wow, that might have been it.
The 86 is willing to get physical right here, as we do have the 13 back on pit road. I tell you, Fody's in a pretty decent point spot after what happened last week. I know you want to win. I know everything about it says you want to win. But the 86 has shown you, hey, I want to win, and I'm willing to wreck you. And I just don't know if I would take my chances getting wrecked here from Tyler Fody.
Yeah. Talk about risk versus reward here, eh?
Yeah, and I understand North Wilkesboro, anything can happen. I can see both sides of the coin wanting to be aggressive, racing for this win. And, the decision's made. Tyler's going to race for this win. And, I guess it just depends on if Blake is willing to really get into him pretty hard one time or not. But one thing, like I said, like the 40 goes in and he's running the same line every time. And Blake doesn't seem like he can get there on the top. So Blake wants the bottom 2. And that's why they're kind of stacking up, because they both want the same line. And Blake just can't get it in behind him. And so he can't make it work on his outside. See right there, all over him, a little bit into him there. This thing's getting physical out here. How do you think it's going to shake out, James?
Oh man, I like to think that these 2 cars at least finish around these positions and not, end up facing the other direction at any point. But oh god, with how close they are and how close they have been, I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
And we're also getting to that point where, who's going to have to stop again and who's not. You mentioned Trey Eitzen still being out here. He's at the point of the night where this is the furthest he's went on tires. And a lot of other guys are quickly approaching that point here where it's, how does this shake out? What's going to happen? Who's saved a little bit? Could these front 2, could the 86 and the 40 be driving themselves into a blown tire just because they've stopped so late? They have been driving really hard. There is no guarantee that they're not going to drive themselves into having an issue here and having to make a pit stop.
Yeah. And you never know if someone on those older tires way off at a different part of the track is going to have an issue and bring out that caution.
It's going to be interesting. A couple guys who are not up there in the top 10 right now that were Chad Frankenfield, not up there right now. Trey Eitzen is coming to pit road, I believe. I believe Trey Eitzen just called out that he was pitting. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that's what he said.
He's got to have a meatball if he's bringing it in now.
He is not.
Yeah, at this point, if you're Trey, you're not pitting unless that lovely little flag tells you that you have to. Not running P3 still.
66 falling off right here. I was going to talk about Cutlip because he had fallen back to 9th or 10th, but I think what we're seeing is the guys who short pitted are starting to, we're seeing them lose speed, and when they lost speed the first run, it took about 5 or 6 laps before they started blowing tires. So I have to wonder, we're going to get down to 5 or 6 to go, and it's going to be blown tires just everywhere.
And something else that's interesting is just the variance we have in the top 10. We only have 4 of our playoff drivers in the top 10 right now.
I do think that's going to change for Chad. I think Chad, he went a little bit longer than some of these guys on that first run, and I think he's going to drive his way into the top 10 because he's just outside, and he's looking at a handful of guys right in front of him who I think he can get to and pass based on where the lap times are headed. And I'm still convinced that the guy running third right now, the 92 is going to have to pit. I'm just convinced that there's no way he could pit as early as he did that first run and then make it live all the way through on this run.
Especially with the pace he's showing. Like, you'd think that 92 car would be at a snail's pace, but he is still clicking off some great lap times. If he stretches this is going to be one of the best drives I think we've ever seen in Elite. Just the difficulty getting these tires to last and not having to putt around to do it.
Yeah, and there's been no aid of a caution on this run. We had that the first run. We did not have it this run, and this battle for the lead still rages on as they come up on Dustin Dewar. Dustin gives him the bottom, says go ahead, and you still see Blake really driving into the corner hard. Just not able to carry that pace off the corner.
Ball, Connor Thompson.
And there it is. There it is, James. Dave just brought it up. 30 car with the flat tire. Gotta think he's not going to be the only one.
And so it begins.
Jared Rexing just went straight up to the wall in 1 and 2 that I thought he was going to hit it. These last 7 laps, hold on tight. I think a guy like Justin Wadsworth, look and see where he's running right now. 17th. Let's see where he finishes. If there's some chaos, I still think it's within possibility that he's going to get to 10th or 12th. This battle for the win rages on between Fody and Reynolds. So much on the line when you talk about racing for a championship. Blake's locked into that championship fight. And the 40's trying to get locked in. They are coming up on the 77. He is on the lead lap right now. Will he fight these guys? I'm not sure if he's a teammate with either one of these two or not. Also, Fody's got to be sitting here wondering, is the 77 going to get involved? They're coming to 3 to go.
And they're not catching him at a high rate, which means Fody is getting some pretty heavy, dirty air right now.
And I think all that talk we've talked about with guys blowing tires, I don't know that anybody's going to blow one. These drivers are way better than I give them credit for, I guess.
Honestly. Meanwhile, Justin Wadsworth did get up into the first car 1 lap down. So if calamity happens in the next lap...
Yeah, I was going to say, he needs to happen in the next 10 seconds, basically. We're
Next
at 2
week,
to
don't
go.
even ask me what is going to happen. I obviously...
Oh, I don't think we know anything either, Dave. We were all in agreement that the chaos was going to reign supreme tonight, that everything was going to go crazy. We were sure, or I was positive, we were going to get flat tires on this last run. Here we go. White flag is out.
Back one.
Blake not close enough right now to do anything. Did not get the good run there off of 2 that he needed to get. They head for turn 3, and you mentioned Trey having a heck of a drive. Well, so did Fody to stay out there in front of that 86, who's nearly wrecking. Fody's going to win. Fody's going to race for a championship along with Blake. Half the championship field is set. Oh, we got Rexy and Cutler getting together. Cutlip steals 6th place right here at the end. Oh, Cutlip a little bit frustrated there, but Weeks gets 3rd. Eitzen, David Tooker, Cutlip, Rexing, Tommy Ryan, Gavin Higgins, and J.P. Phillips. What a battle. What a drive we've seen out of the 40. We won't get to talk to the 92 about how he made those tires live so much longer than he was able to the first run.
We didn't run any ads because we didn't have any cautions. Better run some ads, Phil.
Yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and throw in one of those ads right here. The only one of the night, I guess. So we apologize for that, but I don't think we should apologize. These guys did a heck of a job tonight to stay green here at Dover, at a place that's very hard to do it. So stick with us. On the other side of the break, we'll talk to Tyler Fody along with our other top 3 finishers.
Tickets for the 2026 Season of Speed at Worldwide Technology Raceway are on sale now. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 and Celebration of 66 Festival, June 6th and 7th. The NASCAR Cup Series Enjoy Illinois 300, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and Confluence Music Festival, September 11th through 13th. And the NHRA Napa Auto Parts Midwest Nationals, October 2nd through 4th. Save big by going to WWTRaceway.com.
Now let's hear about Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing picker. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back here to Dover, where Tyler Fody makes that left-hand turn into victory lane. But James, I believe, is standing by with distant third-place finisher, Matthew Weeks.
Yes, sir. I'm here with my broadcast partner on Sundays, Matthew Weeks. Matt, James in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, man. Heck of a run for you tonight. That was a huge recovery from that, of avoiding that massive calamity on lap 2. First of all, just take us through what was going through your mind when that massive wreck happened.
Well, at first I didn't see it. I seen Gavin, and I don't know who it was. They kind of touched doors on the front stretch, and then I seen him, go low. And then I seen John go down there too, and I was right behind John. So I was like, okay, John's going to go low. I'll go high. That way we have, we separated. We both kind of dodged a wreck. And then Borges was just right there. So I just turned left, let off the gas, and prayed I didn't hit him. And luckily it spun me enough sideways to where I can dodge him, but carry the momentum down the track and just get going and keep my spots. And it sucks. I think that really took about 8 to 10% of my right front out right there, just locking up the brakes and dodging that. So the last part of that first run, right before I pitted, I blew a right front, and I told myself, I was like, dang, if I didn't have to dodge that wreck, I wonder what kind of tires I probably could have had right there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, you still recovered amazingly. What was going through your head with the strategy calls then, especially when you saw guys like Seth and Eitzen kind of pit so early?
I knew I wanted to make it to 75 even before the race started, just to split it in half. And we got the run and we were going, and I was just trying to keep tabs of everyone in the playoffs, really, that I'm close to. I know I'm way back there, but I know Fody and Blake and a lot of other guys up there with us were staying out. So I was just kind of following them, and I was already in the mindset to run it dry. And I knew, like, at this track in particular, if you really you can get carried away and kind of overdrive it and cook the front really bad and pay for it late in the run. So I was kind of hoping those guys that pitted, like 10 or 10 laps earlier than me would burn their tires way earlier, kind of drive hard, and I would get them like probably the last 20 laps of that run, but it didn't work out. And so it is what it is. I'll take a P3. This is probably like one of my worst ovals. I do not like this place. I haven't figured it out, and to walk out of here with a P3, man, I'll take it.
Yeah, and it's a good points day that puts you, I think, in at least a better chance to maybe try to point your way in at next week's finale of the round.
Yeah, if we don't point our way and make it to the Final Four, it is what it is. I don't even think I deserve to make it to this round in the playoff season, this side or the Cup. It's just been an off season for me. I probably should have had one win at Darlington, and I literally just gifted that to John. So it's just been one of those seasons. I just want to get it over with and get on to the next year and turn this thing around, to be honest with you.
Alrighty, well, it's a good start to that. Any sponsors, plugs, and shout-outs you'd like to give?
Shout out to my buddy Justin Vandermeer at JV Designs. Paints these schemes. I've been running the same schemes for years now, man, and I never want to change them. They look so good. And John Cullip at Will at JD Designs. Pro Edge guys tonight. I think it was just me and Tooker and Wadsworth. Maybe I don't know the Pro Edge and Racecraft. We get our Toyota teams mixed up here. I don't know who's who because we flip flop some people. So we all ran good. It sucks for Wadsworth. He had that speeding penalty and he was pretty quick. I think he probably could have challenged them boys late in the run. He's kind of figured out the long run. And you guys in the booth and Chad that runs everything, in the back scenes that pretty much brought this league, all the sponsors, Betty watching at home, and then I want to shout out all the guys tonight that in that first run that I caught them and they let me go. I didn't queue up and say thank you because I was just so locked in. This track, I'm not very good at, so I'm like totally 100% focused, locked in, trying not to hit any buttons. So I appreciate those guys for letting me do that tonight.
Alrighty, well, we appreciate you, Matt, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
Yeah, hopefully we can get a win. I want to win. It's been a rough season.
Alrighty, there is our third place man of Matthew Weeks.
Yeah, and he mentioned his rough season there. I wish I could have a rough season that still gave me an opportunity to make the championship 4 here with one race to go, but I guess not all of us can have a rough season that is that good. But speaking of rough seasons, this guy wouldn't know anything about it. We're standing here with second place finisher Blake Reynolds. This might be the roughest race that you've had all season, and it finished second there. Blake, talk to us about the night and what more you needed to get by that 40 machine.
I've had some rough ones. I've had some DNFs, but yeah, I just got, I was able to save a little bit of fuel, a little bit of tire to go longer. The overcut usually works at Dover. Like, it's pretty strong. Just because, people are in older tires, you can usually, even a 5-lap tire difference, you can clear somebody in the center and just take off. Yeah, so I pitted, I think, like 7 laps after Fody. It was like 9 seconds, and I think I made the mistake. I went a little too hard to catch up. I got there pretty quick with like 35 to go. And then I couldn't do anything. Fody just, he's really good at just holding people off annoyingly. I'd say, I'd put it like that. Just, you basically have to use your bumper to get by him. Well, it's just, it's been that way most of the season for me with him in the series and in Cup. So, I didn't want to do it. Although I asked Paul when we were about to lap with like 10 to go, I was like, should I do it? He's like, nah, I don't know. So I'm like, yeah, I won't. I'm locked in, and I'm pretty sure regardless, he was going to be locked in anyway on points with this run tonight. So even if he won, it wouldn't have mattered. So had a good fight. I tried to save a little bit and charge back with like 10 to go, and I couldn't. I had nothing. Right rear was gone. I got to his bumper a couple times to hit him, and the hitboxes in iRacing, they're so strange. I was getting loose and not him. His car didn't move an inch. I got loose when I got to his back bumper on the entry to 3. And that happened like 4 times, so I ended up with a 3310 on the right side tires at the end of the race, and I think at the pit stop I was like 2333.
Well, you mentioned it. You know, you're going to race him for a championship, and maybe if you needed to win, things would have played out differently. But understanding the situation is part of probably, you know, one of the big things that makes good drivers great is understanding the situation and what they need versus what they don't need, what they can stir up. If you would have wrecked him, that would have bled into the championship. And, you know, I don't think that Fody is that type of guy, but you know, anything can happen, getting raced a little bit too hard and whatnot. So now you're going to race him for a championship. I think we're pretty safe in assuming you can throw that 5 car in there. So you 3, and then, you know, whoever can win the lottery at North Wilkesboro. How much are you thinking about that championship battle now that you know it's pretty well taken shape?
I'm pretty sure it's the people I said last week. It would be Fody and Cutlip. And yeah, that 4th guy. It's gonna be tough. I don't know where Weeks is in points. I know he said he had a rough season. I don't know. It seems like he runs pretty well every week.
Yeah, I know. Rough season. The guy's got a shot. Now, he is a little bit under the cushion because of the issues last week. He didn't have the point buffer and didn't get to recover like Fody did. So, you know, Weeks is going into Wilkesboro in that tight battle there for points, maybe even well on the outside looking in. So, you know, he might need to win next week based on what some other guys do, like Wadsworth and, you know, Cutlip, and I think, or not Cutlip, but Wadsworth and Chad and how they've scored stage points tonight and whatnot. So it's going to be a pretty tight battle. I think Weeks has a shot to do it on points. I think that's what he was referencing and being frustrated is that he's going to be probably 15 or 20 out. So he's going to need some help if he doesn't win next week.
Yeah, and it sucks for Wadsworth. I think he sped on pit road at the pit stop. He's my teammate in this series, so that sucks to see. I know he was above the point, above the cut line coming in. And this track, I know he loves this track.
Yeah, we were watching that. We knew, you know, I think he knew pretty quick too before it ever popped. He got his money's worth out of it. It wasn't like he was a little bit over. He was about 5 boxes in, I think, still probably running 40 miles an hour. So he got all he could get.
No.
But before we let you jump out of here, why don't you tell us who helps get it done for you and who's going to chase this championship with you?
Well, that'd be Track Racer Simulation and Channel 199 Sim Racing, all the fine folks there, Travis Estrada and the admin team. Drake Machine Works, personal sponsor of mine, Racecraft Academy. I do coaching there. You guys for putting this on, Chad and the admin team. It's this is definitely my favorite series right now. I'm signing up next season. Not sure about Cup yet. I still haven't signed up yet. We'll see. But yeah, I'll see y'all next Monday or Wednesday night.
All right, Blake, we'll let you jump out of here, start preparing for that championship, and start getting ready for that lottery at Wilkesboro next week.
Yes, sir. See y'all.
Well, now we got the man of the hour, and that's Tyler Fody. He was the man of the hour last week for all the wrong reasons with him and Weeks running into an issue. But tonight, you righted that wrong there, Tyler. Got that win, locked into that championship. Talk to us about what it's going to take to win that championship here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Yeah, I haven't really thought about next or the championship. I'm still kind of stunned we were able to pull that off with Blake there. Yeah, just crazy race. I knew pole was going to be important, clean air and all that, and yeah, I don't think I've ever got pole here, so that was really surprising, and just kind of managed the tires. Felt good the whole first run of the race, and saw Blake, of course, driving up into the top 3 there towards the end of that run. And I knew I wanted to go before those guys, not have to try and repass anybody. So was just waiting for someone to pit, and saw Justin pit. And literally as I'm coming around, entering turn 3, getting ready to pit a lap after him, I heard him call out on the radio that he had sped. So hindsight, I wanted to go longer then, but I was already committed, so I just had to kind of go with it. And that gave Blake, I think, about a 6-lap advantage. And from there, I was a little worried. I just took it real easy, but he closed the gap right down. And I didn't really think I had a shot to hold him off. But yeah, just mirror drove it the whole time. And he was giving me some shots, and rightfully so, because I was blocking all over the place. But yeah, after talking with him a little bit, I guess it was getting his car more loose than it was mine, and he didn't really have rear tires at the end of it. So yeah, just surprised, but relieved. Big win for me to lock in here. We were kind of close to the bubble, and also it being the 100th was super cool to get it done that way with battling Blake there for it. So super stoked.
Oh, that was the 100th. I didn't even. I've heard you talk about that, but I did not realize that that was tonight. So that was the 100th win there for the team.
Yeah, for myself, yeah, long time coming. Yeah, six years of doing this, and finally got it. So super happy to finally get over that hurdle.
I guess you haven't won as much as we thought if it took you 6 years to get to 100.
Yeah.
But anyway, so talk to us about the next 100. Where do you go from here? What are you going to do for Wilkesboro? Anything? Are you going to go straight to prepping for that championship battle, since you know pretty well that it's going to be you? You know, Blake's in there, and I think after tonight, John is locked in as well on points. So, you know, we're not sure who that fourth guy is going to be. You know, probably one of the guys at or around that cut line is going to win the race and whatnot. So when do you start putting in an effort towards that championship race?
Well, probably be the day of, just because I work all the time. So this is kind of a side thing, but we'll see. Yeah, maybe we'll get in some practice the day before, but man, I don't know. It's a good track for us, but it's a good track for everyone. I think it's Chicagoland, or no, it's Kansas, sorry, which is a good track for all those guys. So, yeah, we'll see. Regardless of the practice, everyone's going to be at their A game there, so we're just going to have to really step up and see what happens. But right now, just looking to celebrate here.
What you all just heard right there was a bunch of malarkey. As someone who is a member of this team, I know that these practices happen. Okay, I'm going to out you, Fody. That's a bunch of malarkey that you're going to wait until the day of. I know better, along with everybody else.
We'll see.
But anyway, we'll give you a shot here. Who else get it done for you week in, week out, and who are you going to take to that championship fight there in a couple weeks?
Yeah, just obviously all the guys at Lake Norman. Tonight it was just Scott, but it's a big group back there to share notes from that just help every one of us each and every week throughout all the series. So just shout out to all those guys. Could not have gotten to this point without those guys along the way. So it starts with all them. You're included in that too, being a longtime member there. So appreciate all the teammates. Also want to shout out John Cutlip with JD Designs for doing the whole team's cars the last year or so. And then shout out to you guys here, Dave, Chris, James, doing the cameras, doing the commentary. It's always fun there. And shout out to Chad too for putting this league on and giving us all a place to come run and have some fun. So yeah, big shout out to all those guys, and hopefully we'll be talking to you guys again here next week and the week after. I think that'll be pretty good.
Well, all right, Tyler, congrats on the win. Congrats on getting locked in. Can't wait to see what you got now at Wilkesboro next week, and can't wait to see you go race for that title. So it's going to be a lot of fun over the next couple weeks. Give us a show.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, James, Dave, as we wrap up here from Dover, are there any final thoughts from you guys before we look ahead here to Wilkesboro and the guys who have to win?
Yeah, Tyler Fody. That's the race car driver's equivalent of what? I rolled out of bed looking this good. But yeah, we're I guess we can't predict anything since we thought tonight was going to be wild and it really wasn't. But I feel like we can say that there's going to be a lot of stuff going on next week at Wilkesboro. I feel like we're going to see some crazy things, especially with, an opportunity to fight for a championship directly on the line right there. It's going to be a race. I don't think we'll be disappointed Not to say that tonight was a disappointment. Tonight was incredible, but it's going to be a sight to behold.
Yeah, I kind of agree with James. What do I know? Come out next week. They're going to come out and run strikes and right-handed.
I'll tell you this: if they come out next week and only have one yellow and run the rest of the thing caution free, I'll never run in an elite race again. Mark it down. I think that's a safe prediction. That is not going to happen. I think there's going to be chaos, drama, fired up drivers that are super frustrated. The cut line's going to be exciting with guys having to win. The strategy is going to be all over the place. We know 3 of the 4. We know Blake. We know Tyler. And we know John are going to race for a championship. And if you want to see the 4th and find out who it is, you have to tune in next week. But before we get to that, I do want to shout out all our sponsors, everybody who helps get this thing going week in, week out. Blue Egg, Worldwide Technology, Dave for everything over here at ERN, James for joining me, Chad for what he does. And of course, we didn't see him out here tonight. Mark must be somewhere taking pictures. But Mark is a big part of the series, big part of Elite. Always a lot of fun. Always has a good time. Hopefully, wherever he was at tonight, he's having a great time. And hopefully, he'll be back on the track with us soon because I think that's 2 in a row that he's missed. So, Mark, wherever you are, let us know. Send us some pictures. Maybe we can get Dave to show a picture or 2 in the chat if you're out at some event here, and we can talk about you a little bit more. Didn't get a chance to talk about all the pictures you were taking and highlight you tonight. So shout out to all those guys, all the sponsors. And like I said, if you want to figure out who that 4th driver is, you'll have to tune in next week from Wilkesboro, where I promise there will be chaos. We'll see you there.